What is going on right now on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube? Like, there's a lot. YouTube just doubled their monetization requirements. Also, everybody's talking about an influencer recession. Like, everybody's saying that there's no brand deals left and influencer marketing is dying. Everybody's content is made by Claude, or everybody's talking about Claude. Like, AI is just, it's doing too much on social media. So we need to discuss. So what I thought we would do today is we would come together in social media's office. We'd sit down, we'd grab a coffee, and we would do a state of social media, which is when we sit down and we talk about what's working on social, like what are we supposed to do, and also all the different news and things that are happening. We also are going to do content therapy today. We're going to talk very deeply about this whole like formula on social media and how it's making us all go crazy. So I'm really excited. I think without further ado, let's just clock in. Everything's timestamped below, and let's go to work together today.
Okay, so social media advice recently has gotten really scary. Everybody's telling you to post 400 times a day, but then you need to get on YouTube right now, but then you have to build a signature brand, but then also you're really busy. Like, it's just a lot. But luckily, Storyblocks will solve all of these problems at once. It is something I've used for so many years at this point. You hear me talk about Storyblocks all the time because I am deeply obsessed. Storyblocks is a human-made stock media library that is essential for creators. It is truly my one-stop shop to save time, build my brand, grow in social media, because they have everything from stock media to sound effects to music to green screens. Also, this video that we made on Instagram that did so well, all of the stock footage of the city, this is from Storyblocks. So it's helped me build a signature brand on long form and short form, but also, you know, when you need to find a song or a sound effect, but then you're worried like, okay, is it royalty free? Can I use this? Every single thing on Storyblocks is royalty free and pre-licensed, so it's safe to use in all of your content, whether it's monetized or it's organic. All the music I use, my short form and long form content, all of that is from Storyblocks because I just know, like, okay, it's royalty free, I'm good. And the best part is that all of this is included under one predictable subscription cost, which is so rare. Like, you don't have to individually pay for a sound effect, a song, a green screen, whatever. Like, it's all included in the subscription, which is amazing. So to start telling better stories with the tools that I use, go visit storyblocks.com/Tess Barclay. And they're also offering a limited time discount that is only available to my audience through this link. So definitely go check out Storyblocks. I love them. I've used them every single week for so many years. Thank you so much to Storyblocks for sponsoring today's video, and let's get into it.
Okay, so first things first. First thing we need to discuss is what is working on social media. Like, what are we supposed to be doing? What's working? Here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. What's working on social media is a very specific formula. Like, if I pull up Instagram right now or TikTok right now and do a scroll, it looks like this. And if you're listening, it's like everybody has like a little mini microphone, maybe like it's attached to something. There's big giant text up top. And then when they're talking, maybe for like 45 seconds, there's all these pop-ups of like really nice pictures. And it's like this yapping style that everyone calls it now, personal branding. Like, that's what's working. I have to say, it looks gorgeous. It looks amazing. It does take a lot of skill to make a video like that look good, perform well, all of that. And then, of course, we are in 2026 is the year of the like big pastel text epidemic. It has been months. It has been months of this. But here's the thing, okay? I have a hot take. Just because that's what's working on social media doesn't necessarily mean that's what we have to do and that's what you have to do. Just because something is very popular and getting a lot of views doesn't mean it's actually working. And like, what does working even mean? Pretty much everybody here in the Busy Bling office is somebody who your end goal isn't to just be an influencer. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I know there are a lot of lifestyle influencers in here, but I think majority of people who clock into the office, it's like your end goal isn't just to get 1 million followers and like that's it. Like, I'm sure there is something else. Like, you want to start a business or have services or have clients or have a book or a podcast or a speak, or like there's something else, right, that you want to do with those followers. It's not just vlog every day, which I know some people are like that. If that is your goal, like if the goal is to build a business outside of all the followers, an extension of all the followers, which I think we should, and I think that's what a lot of people do, I think what is actually working is trying to break up with this obsession and standard you put on yourself for mass reach and think about carving out your own corner and building a like smaller, very, very tight knit, almost like group chat or inner circle or like your own corner of social. Like that is truly, I think, the future of social media. And we've seen it. Like we've seen this so much on like Cannes Lions, whatever. All the brands there spoke about how they would rather work with we've talked about this, but they would rather work with an influencer that has 10,000 followers that are really engaged and then somebody who has a really clear topic than somebody who just has like 1 million general followers. Like they would rather use that budget on a 10,000 follower creator who has a tight-knit audience, clear topic. And it's been the trend. Like every single influencer marketing report, like even the ones that just came out, are the same as they were in January, where if you read the market research of interviewing brands and seeing how brands are spending their budget, it is on those smaller creators, but you don't see it because all you're seeing obviously on social is the top, right? Like you're seeing the people who get the most views, the most reach, but are those people converting brand deals? I think some of them are. Are they converting people to, buy from them or listen to them for an hour or whatever? I think some are, but I think a lot aren't. And so there's so much I want to say in today's meeting, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm like overwhelmed sometimes when I scroll on social because I'm like, I should be doing that. Like, let me get my mini megaphone out of my big text and like film like that because that's what's working and let me do this big text. I don't actually think it's really working because everything you do on social media should get you closer to where you want to go, right? And we're going to talk about that in a second. But if you just kind of create this formula and carbon copy of what everyone else is doing, is that getting closer to where you want to go? Like, is it really reaching people who really, really deeply know you? And I think what's actually working is content that is so casual and almost like anti-content creator, anti-social media looking content. Like I saw this post. Did you guys watch Joey's season of The Bachelor? Remember Kelsey Anderson? She posted this like selfie of her doing laundry and she's like, I'm doing laundry. And like, that was a picture. All the comments were like, can this be what social media is? Like, it's truly just this like casual thing. And I have been talking this year about how, polished casual is really in right now. I think unpolished casual, we're getting closer and closer to just doing like very, very casual content and really thinking about what are people not doing and creating that, like creating content that is so you and so creative and different. I think that's what people are really craving on social media right now. Like what I think is truly, truly working for what you want, like what I want as well, is thinking about what is no one else doing and stopping scrolling, as we all know, and think about, okay, what is so uniquely me and what is so like creative and fun that I do and that I love, something that's like really funny, like maybe it's your personality, and truly only creating for the people in your group chat, the people in your following, like the people who are in your inner circle, and kind of like living in your world rather than building, because and like trying to always reach a bunch of new people, instead trying to talk to the people who already follow you. And what that actually does is if someone comes across a video where you're not doing intros and disclaimers and like whatever, you're talking about something like that you've already been talking about with your following, they feel like FOMO, like they're missing out. I think that is what is really working. So what I want to say for this, this season state of social media is really try to not fall into this formula that everyone else is doing and think about, this is the time where your uniqueness, like your unique creativity and personality and sense of humor is such a superpower right now, and mass production and mass views and mass following, it's not the end goal necessarily that you even need. Like maybe it's actually holding you back a lot, is like always having this like weight on your back of like you need a certain follower amount by the end of 2026, and so you're creating content just to like get a bunch of followers that's not even truly deeply like what you're trying to do. So that's my rant of what's working right now. Okay, now let me know your thoughts. Obviously I need to know your thoughts below, but let's get into a couple of headlines that are like the biggest headlines of social media right now. The first one being obviously YouTube doubled their monetization. doubled their monetization requirements. So let's unpack a little bit, because this came out on August 10th. I'm like reading directly from the YouTube blog. So it's kind of interesting. They said, with over 3 million creators in the program, we're making our first significant change since 2018 to ensure that this program continues to be the leader in the creator economy. So obviously the big change that everyone's talking about is that before this change, to be monetized on YouTube to make AdSense, you had to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in the last year. So that's what, once you hit that, you are eligible to be like getting AdSense, and you're in the YouTube partner program, it's called. I remember when I made YouTube videos in high school, like beauty guru videos. I remember they paid you out in checks, like physical checks. And in high school, I would make like $100. And then once you hit $100, you would get mailed your check. And so I remember always going to the bank with my like YouTube checks and thinking like, I'm so rich and famous with my $100 check. Now, starting on February 1st, 2027, you need 1,000 subscribers, which is the same, but 8,000 public watch hours in the last 12 months. So it's doubled. Some context here, I shared this on Instagram, but 8,000 watch hours is equivalent to this video. I'll put the screenshot up, where I did on Claude, who's actually with us, he's behind us here, on Claude, and that video had 75,000 views. It was 25 minutes long, and it got 8,500 watch hours. So that is some like tangible numbers of what that could look like. But this is a lot. It's a lot. I'm not going to lie. To get 8,000 watch hours as a newer creator, and people are not happy. Like, they're not happy. I posted about it on Instagram, and I saw the comments. Like, I agree. Like, this is crazy. It's a lot. I get where YouTube is coming from. It's like they have girl boss too close to the sun. Like, all year we've been talking about how YouTube is the biggest platform. It's growing and growing and growing. More people watch YouTube than they watch Netflix. More people listen to podcasts on YouTube than Spotify and Apple combined. Like, it is the biggest social media platform, and it's growing and growing. Like, I'm sure you're seeing people pop up from like TikTok and Instagram. Everyone's getting on YouTube and everyone's getting monetized. And so what is happening is they're like, okay, there's not enough money to go around, and we want to pay people like a good amount of money. So we're doubling the requirement. It's unfortunate, I do have to say, but I do like how they gave us some time. So the time of filming this is the end of August. So we have September, October, November, December, January, 5 months, okay? Next week, I think I'm going to do a video on growing on YouTube. I have a whole playlist on this channel called How to Grow on YouTube, where when I hit 100K, I did 2 or 3 videos of like my playbook, everything I've learned. So go watch those if those are helpful. But I think I will do an updated version of some more ways to get like more watch hours and grow. And I'm going to do a Q&A on my Instagram about it, because I'm sure there's so many questions. So not that I know everything about YouTube. We just did, you guys, we're coming out of a low point, okay? We just did summer Fridays for June, July. People hated summer Fridays. You know, don't make fun of the girl who takes a chance creatively, but I was trying to do videos on like Friday afternoons that was staying on the pulse of social media. The views are low. I'm not going to lie. Like, you can all see them. And I was just trying something. I'm like, you know what? It's summer. Let's like switch up the channel a little bit. I need to learn to stop switching up this channel and just like leave it on Mondays and like just do the show everyone wants. But like, I don't know. I feel like I have so many ideas. But anyways, I will post a video. Maybe next week's episode could be about how to grow on YouTube. Tip number 1. Don't do summer Fridays, okay? Friday afternoons in the summer is probably the worst time to post on social. Anyways, that's the new update. My takeaway, it's really unfortunate. I do understand it. And we all just need to band together and grow on YouTube together as an office. And we will. Like, we will. We'll figure it out. Okay, another update. Instagram has changed their logo. You know what? I like it. I'm not gonna lie. I do. I'm sorry. The old Instagram logo was kind of chewy. It looks like a HomeSense sign. And so Instagram has just like elevated. Adam Mosseri is fighting for his life in the comments, like truly. Okay, last big headline of the state of social media right now is an influencer recession. So everybody's talking about this right now, and this really came about from Audrey Peters. She did an article, and Audrey Peters is a huge creator, and she did a article basically saying that just because she has millions of followers her brand deals are like less and less, and there's so many more creators. And I'm totally paraphrasing. I don't even know if she like said this exactly, but basically the overall consensus is there's an influencer recession. And what that means is there's so many influencers now that there's less brand deals. And every time there's something negative about influencer marketing, everybody celebrates. They're like, yay, let's take down influencers. But here's the thing. I saw this thing on Substack that I need to share because it perfectly encapsulates my thoughts. From Colin Rocker on Substack, he says, there is no influencer recession. There's a vapid content recession. Many of the creators I know who share expertise on work, money, tech, etc. are having their biggest year ever. The people want intellectually nutritious content. Empty calories are being cut. He ate with that. There's only 5 likes on that, and like I actually don't know who this is, but he ate with that. Like, there is this other formula of lifestyle creators that got really, really popular in like 2021 to 2022, 2023. Like those first few years of TikTok really on the rise of lifestyle creators showing their like travel reset routines and Sunday resets and morning routines and day in my life and like all of this. And some of them are still extremely relevant. Like think of Acquired Style. Like, you know, she's like the top of the top right now. But I think most of those creators are finding that it's not really working in terms of like business right now because what we've been talking about all year, interest media. Creators really, really are winning who have topics that are about tech, mental health, finance, career, relationships. Like there's some sort of attachment to it, like a topic, a through line that's not their life. Their life is not the brand. Their life is not the through line. Their reset's not the through line. There's something else. And that is what's working. That's what brands want to be attached to. But I just want to say there's so much fear mongering. Like, what is going on? There's so much fear mongering about influencer marketing dying and like no brand deals. It's just lifestyle creators, I think, are just needing a little bit more of a strategy refresh. They just need a strategy refresh. In 2026, brands, like US brands only, are expected to spend $44 billion on creators, which last year it was $37 billion. So the industry is totally fine. It's just changing. It's totally changing right now of what's working. You just can't grow. Really. I mean, you can. You totally can. But it's not the best strategy to do lifestyle content. It's just not. You have to have some sort of something in there. And that's just the reality, which I think a lot of us know. We've been talking about that forever. So I just think it's interesting. There's no influencer recession, okay? It's not happening. Okay, let's get into our new segment, okay? I really want to do this. So that is our meeting. It's over. State of social media. We're good. We're unpacked. We're feeling lighter, I hope. Now, I want to do a new segment, which we're always changing things up here on the podcast. But I want to do a segment after a meeting every week where we call it content therapy. What I thought we would talk about today, this might sound like I'm in a psychosis, so just like, please bear with me, but I'm going to talk about one thing and then we'll get into the voice note. There is this realization I've had with business and social media, the danger of over-engineering your end goal and over-engineering what you want so white knuckling and like gripping on so much to what we always talk about of I want to be on this podcast one day and my blue sky scenario is being on a billboard and having a New York Times bestselling book and going on Emma Greet's podcast as a multimillionaire founder and having a podcast that has millions and millions of views and like whatever. But it's really important. We talk about it all the time of having these like blue sky scenario goals, whatever. But it's really important to have those things in pencil, not written in stone. And something that I think has happened to me this year is I don't know how to say this. Like, I don't know if you'll relate to this, maybe you will, where it's easy to feel trapped in your own business and brand. And you become the employee of the boss becoming these goals and also the formula of what's working and like what you think you should post. Those things take the CEO top's driver's seat and you get in the back seat. And you start to feel like trapped in the car where it's going a certain direction that you've programmed in, but you can't drive it. And I feel like what I'm getting to here is there's so much social media strategy out there. Obviously, I'm someone who contributes to that conversation. And there's so much stuff out there of like what you should talk about and how you should create. And, when you create on YouTube, you have to have the beginning of your YouTube video has to be about the topic. And this is literally advice I give, which I agree with, is you have to, when you open a YouTube video, the way you have to talk has to relate to the title and the thumbnail. And your title and thumbnail has to be a certain way. And then when you create an Instagram, it has to look a certain way. It has to be really good quality and edited this way. And you have to not talk about too much about yourself, but then maybe talk a little bit about yourself. And then simultaneously, you have these goals of, okay, well, I want to be known for this and be on this podcast and achieve this. So I have to do things this way to reverse engineer to get on that podcast and also be known for this. So I'm going to talk about this thing on YouTube and Instagram. So I'm known for this and not known for this. And we get like trapped in all of these shoulds that really don't exist and all these rules that we create. And it's funny because something I've realized is I'm creating rules for myself of somewhere I've never been, of somewhere I don't know how to get to, because if I did, I would be there and I'm not. And I think what happens, because 2026 is a weird year to create on social. It's so different than even 10 years ago because there's so much like insight into people's systems and how they create and also what they've accomplished. Like you're able to see like people's path to success that you want, and you're able to see people's content strategy. You see like their content and what they're posting and how. And so I think what happens is you get this belief that's not true, that I didn't even realize I had, that the things that you want, there's only one way to get them. And there's a certain formula and way to get there, and a certain way to post and where to create and how to create, and a certain strategy to get there. And so what you forget is that path that you and I are on to get where we want to go, again, regardless of what those end goals are, is something that we've never seen. And the path is you can only see it in hindsight. You can only see it when you look back, not forward. And so I think what happens is we feel really trapped sometimes and like stuck. And I feel this way sometimes where I'm like, I can't talk about like what I want to talk about, or I can't create what I want to create. I don't even know what I want to create. Like you can just get so lost in like these content zoomies that we talk about a lot because of all of this. If you think like, well, I have to do it this way. I have to create this way and do it this way and like have a podcast that's like this and have an Instagram that's like this and a YouTube that's like this, because you're following in someone else's path and you forget that your path is different. And the way that you're going to get those goals is something that you've never even seen, and it's so uniquely yours. And then I think simultaneously, like what this does, or at least does to me, is that you over-engineer so much like what you want that you get in the way of your potential, I think sometimes, where you know how let's say Emma Chamberlain, I was listening to her on Emma Green's podcast, and she was like talking about how when she created on YouTube, she was creating stuff she wanted to create like for fun, and then just like blew up out of nowhere. She didn't expect it. That never happens nowadays. Like now when you go to create on YouTube and go on TikTok, you're like, I hope this blows up. Like this is my end goal, is to do these certain things. I think because there's so much strategy and you can see what everyone's doing and there's all these rules, that you don't let, and I've talked about this before, but you don't let the universe, God, whatever you believe in, like that plan and those goals and like your potential, what you could accomplish, is probably so much bigger and also probably so much different than something you could ever put in a vision board, because you can't think of it now. So you don't let yourself exist or follow how you're feeling or what you're pulled to, or what you feel in alignment to. And you don't let things happen because you're so white knuckling trying to make them happen. But the things you're making happen are so much smaller than if you let them happen. And so I don't know if this makes any sense, but I feel like all of that like magical stuff that you can't even like think of or see or imagine that could like happen or that you could talk about, or like what your podcast could be about, or like what this like thing that could blow up for you, or like maybe you'll write a book that you never even thought of because something happened. Like we don't let things happen anymore, like in business or social media, because we're over engineering so much, and we're like so like white knuckling of like, I need to be known for this one thing and I need to be on this podcast. And like, I like, to be honest, I'll share one example of this. For me, it's like, I would love to be on these like certain podcasts, like in my 40s, and I'm on the Emma Green podcast. I would like, it's such a goal of mine to be like, that would be so amazing to think about busy blooming corporation of like all these businesses I've started under Busy Blooming, and like I own a podcast network and like all these things, and I've built this like Busy Blooming like huge corporation, and that's something I would love to do. And then what that does though is it keeps you trapped, because, or maybe this is me, but let me know if you relate to this, but I'm like, okay, because I want to be on that podcast as this like business person, I can't talk about these things, because if I talked about things that way, that person wouldn't be on Emma Green's podcast. Or I can't create content like this because that person wouldn't have accomplished these things. Like can't like exist and be. And I feel like we get trapped a lot. And I think sometimes when, as creators, podcasters, entrepreneurs, you feel like you don't know what to post, you can't post, you feel in a rut, you don't feel creative, like you feel just so like stuck, it's because of this, like these deeper things that we don't even realize, these like beliefs about how things have to be and how your path has to go. But rather than reverse engineering it and doing like a literal corporate work back plan of like, in 10 years from now, I want to do this, so now today I'm going to do that to get there. Instead, you let the path be created by, of course, being strategic, obviously. Like you don't just want to post a bunch of random crap on Instagram, but it's like letting like the universe or whatever take over a little bit and taking things more day by day, week by week, to let it happen. Like see what takes off, see where you feel really pulled to. If all of this was really fun, like what would that look like? Because also, sometimes you're building something that you don't necessarily even enjoy, but it works, so you keep doing it. But if you keep doing it, that's what you're going to be known for, and that's where you're going to grow, and that's what you're going to have to do forever. So if you wanted to, let's say in a dream scenario, have a podcast a certain way or your Instagram a certain way, if that's what you want to do long term, that's what you want to grow. So you have to do that now. But then you think, I can't do that because you have all these rules and goals and you're like just in this like psychosis. I think also what happens is that you are constantly, or I feel like this a lot, is I feel like I'm constantly living in the past in my head, where I'm like, right now how I'm living is in the before phase, before something takes off or before it gets really big. And so what that does is it always makes you feel like you're behind and you're not there yet. And I really struggle when people say, you know, oh my God, like Busy Blooming, like what you're doing is so amazing. In my head, I'm like, no, it's not, like just wait, because it's going to be so much bigger and like so much better. And so what I think also all this values is it makes you never be able to feel proud of what you're doing and like never content. And there's this quote on Pinterest I needed to share where it says, the amount of good things in your life depends on your ability to notice them. And this is like with content and business too. Like the amount of good things in your business and content is the ability to see them. And it makes it really hard to see how good your content is and how much your followers, like let's say you have 1,000 followers. It's like all of those people that like love your content and chose to hit the follow button, like if you can't see them sometimes because you're so blinded in the back seat of watching this like, you know, future vision board and goals and strategy when everyone else is doing is driving. And so you can't even like see all the things that you have. And so I want to just share this today in content therapy and like empower us all a little bit that our path of getting where you want to go is probably so much bigger and so much better and so different than something we could even see. And there are no rules. Like there's just none. And the way you're going to grow on social media, we don't know. Like we just don't know. We're not going to be able to see it and until 10 years from now. And then you look back, you're like, oh, okay. Like I totally get like how that blew up. But if you're constantly just trying to follow this formula, you're never going to figure it out because you're so out of alignment that you're never fulfilling fulfilling and like doing your purpose. And like, I'm sure there's like somebody in the universe like screaming at you to be like, just create this one thing that I know you want to create and I know you want to do. It's gonna be big. Just like give it a minute. And we don't let ourselves be like, because we're so like chained by these like vision board items and goals and thinking these beliefs that you have to be a certain way that you don't. Like, who said that? Who said that you can't talk about certain things and do certain things? Maybe I did, because I'm like, that's bad content strategy. But, you know, I feel like we just forget that your path to success is something that you've never seen. It's completely different than what everyone else is doing. And you have to let yourself have the path built for you rather than trying to like force those bricks down the path, you know? Anyways, okay. That's my content therapy of the week. Let's get into the voice note of content therapy as well. And then I have a content idea too. There's a lot in these episodes, okay? Here's the voice note of the week. And if you want to submit, I'm needing voice notes. So if you want to submit, please do. It's linked below, and just make it like 30 seconds to a minute.
Hi Tess, I'm a lifestyle creator. I create short form on both TikTok and Instagram, as well as long form on YouTube. My goal is to be a full-time creator, and I've been creating content for over 10 years, but the thing I've always struggled with is posting consistently. I feel like I've never been consistent with posting, so my mindset just doesn't even know what it looks like to be consistent. I noticed that you are very consistent with posting, so I would love to hear your insight on how you're able to do that. Also, what it looks like on a day-to-day basis for you, because I feel like every day I think about content, but I just don't have a good structure or flow. So I'm curious, do you have specific times during the day that you work on content stuff, or do you have specific days during the week? I would love to hear about your personal content structure or flow, and also any tips you have for somebody that's trying to be consistent, but that is also a type B person, as well as being a lifestyle creator that's type B, but also wants a consistent structure and flow for content creation. And also any tips you have for posting even whenever you're not feeling motivated, or you just really don't want to post but you know that you need to.
Firstly, thanks for the voice note. Secondly, let me give you some peace. I am so inconsistent. Like, so inconsistent. I think regular viewers of the show notice that. And it has always been something I am really hard on myself about, is how inconsistent I am. I feel like I just struggle so much with the content zoomies. I have so many ideas and so many things I want to do with the podcast. Summer Fridays. Like, I was just like, let's do that. And like, let's whatever. And then I take a week off because I'm like, oh, I want to try something new. Like, I am very, very inconsistent, and it's something I am really hard on myself about, and I want to be somebody who, like, every single Monday, 10 a.m., there's a podcast, or whatever day, or whatever it is. I want to be somebody who posts every day on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm not, and I strive to be there and strive to do those things, but it's funny because I feel like, from the outside looking in, you probably, unless you're a regular viewer of the show, you probably wouldn't think of me as somebody on Instagram and TikTok who's super inconsistent, but I am. I consistently, schedule-wise, post rarely on Instagram and TikTok. Like, I don't think I even posted once in July. Once. And I got 4 brand deals inbound, for big ones for Instagram, which just shows, like, it's not everything. And what I've tried to do over the years is just, like, I have a lot on my plate, which I'm sure you do too, of like, there's a lot that goes on at Busy Blooming. We're building a completely new business right now, which is something I'm so excited to share with you. It's like the best thing ever. And then the podcast and Instagram, TikTok, Busy Blooming, After Hours, like there's just a lot. And then of course, like living a life as a 29-year-old. And I think what I try to do is look at things holistically, holistically on Instagram and TikTok. I show up regularly, and on YouTube is something I really want to try to get into a weekly flow of long term, like for a year of not missing a week. But the reality is, consistency to me has always been more about consistently talking with the same mission, to the same people, with the same brand, the same energy. Consistent energy to me is so important. And I when you talk about being a type B person, something I've never shared, which this episode we're just getting so unfiltered. I've never shared this before, but I have extreme diagnosed OCD. It's something I've never talked about. It's something I am medicated for. And I could do a whole episode on, like, I could do a TED Talk for hours on how I think OCD and struggling with entrepreneurship and content creation relate, and just the things I have learned over the years of doing both, because you live in such black and white. Like, it's just so, like, you're trying to always get to the bottom of nothing. And, like, anyways, it's truly an asylum. Like, I have just recently gotten to the point where I'm like, maybe I could talk about it, because I find it is so hard to talk about, because I don't get how people, like, joke about it. I feel like I'm getting there, but it's just been something that has affected, like, everyone around me's life so deeply, and mine as well. It's like a huge part of my life that I don't really talk about, which I totally can. Like, I feel like I'm finally getting there, to be able to talk about it without, like, kind of having a complete mental breakdown. Anyways, as somebody with that, I feel like it has made it really hard to be consistent, because things are so black and white. And then also I'm so creative and have so many ideas all the time, and, like, again, get the content zoomies. And so I relate. I'm not necessarily a type B person, but I relate to maybe not being somebody who can just, like, I look at entrepreneurs and creators sometimes and I'm like, I want to be like that. Like, when they have their, like, perfect content calendar and everything's color coordinated and everything's perfect, and I'm like, that is my dream. Like, that's literally my dream. Like, when I was talking to Natalie, who founded Rella, and she's like, has, like, her Rella all, like, gorgeously, like, organized, and everything just goes out. She sits down in batches and whatever. I have never in my life done that. And I just think consistency is one of those things that everyone's like, you have to be consistent. Like, it's the most important thing. Honestly, it's never been something that I've done ever. Like, the years I really grew on TikTok, I grew 0 to 100,000 followers in, like, maybe, like, 7 months. I posted, like, 3 times a week. Like, I had a 9-to-5 job. Like, I was so busy. And I posted, like, 3 to maybe 5 times a week on YouTube. In 2024, when YouTube, like, exploded, that 2024 was the worst year of my life. Like, it was the darkest, worst time ever. And I took months off in 2024. And that's when I grew, like, 70,000 subscribers. I took, I think, at least 6 months off, and I would post, like, once and then take another 3 months, and no one said anything. Like, no one noticed. And I feel like I will just say, this is a safe space to not be consistent, because I'm not very consistent as a creator. I try to be, and I think I'm really consistent in how I talk and what I talk about and the topics and all of that. Like, we're always in the same brand and mission and to the same people, but it's not daily. I have never, ever posted daily on Instagram or TikTok. And I have never posted every single week on YouTube for maybe more than 3 months. Like, I always have a week or 2 off. So, I don't know. I feel like consistency is overrated. Like, if you're quality over quantity, like, when I really grew on TikTok a few years ago, one of my TikToks grew, like, 30,000 followers. Another one grew, like, 30,000 followers. And then it was like, all you need is that your base of your feed is something people want to follow. So you want to make sure, like, every single thing in your feed is high quality, it's good, it represents your brand and who you are, because you just see that one video and then they go to your feed and they're like, oh my God, there's all this amazing content. That's what I don't really understand, how people are, like, obsessed so much with mass production, because you're posting a bunch of content that doesn't even do well. So, like, who cares if you post every single day? I'd rather post 3 times a week or post a podcast episode every, like, maybe 3 times a month. That's really, really strong than just, like, posting a bunch of random stuff, like, just to post it. To be consistent. Consistency is what? Like, what's consistency? Some people say it's 3 times a day, every day, once a week. Like, to me, consistency is how you create. So I feel like, how you talk about things and, like, what you talk about. That's what consistency is. And, like, looking at things holistically, like, your whole channel in 2026 this year is, like, consistent, it's great, like, whatever. I feel like we're just so hard on ourselves of, like, you know, have to post every single day. And, like, why? I don't. And I feel like it's been great. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, would you maybe grow faster and be bigger if it was more consistent? Probably, but you have to also exist. I feel like social media coaches who tell you to like post 5 times a day or even post every day don't struggle with their mental health, and it shows. Or they don't have like a lot going on in their life, and it shows. Like some of us are just hanging on by a thread, okay? So anyway, I think what has helped me to answer your question and not just talk about myself the whole time, so rude of me after your voice note, but I think something that has helped me is having a very, very clear understanding of my brand. I want to talk about these things. I want to be known for this. And I want to you can exist in a framework rather than a structure and a schedule. There's no schedule. I don't have a posting schedule. I never have. I have a framework of like, these are a big list of ideas. This is what I want to talk about. And then I just go day by day, which is not ideal, but it's just what it is. And it works for me. So you have to just like block out the noise. Who cares that everyone tells you what to do? Like, do your own thing. Content therapy concluded. Let's get into a content idea, and then we're going to wrap up. This is a really long episode. So content idea of the week is what's in and out for fall 2026, or doing trend predictions for fall 2026. So I would do either like a green screen or a like sitting down holding your laptop talking about fall now, because I know it's the end of summer and it's still August. I don't want to fall your summer, but I'm so over summer. And doing a video about like predicting something for fall, whether it's like predicting content, trends you think are going to happen, fashion trends, also talking about what's in and out. This could be like mental health things of like, this is in, this is out for me. Like for fall, I'm going to break up with this mindset. You also could do things like, let's say you have young kids and you're like a motherhood creator. You could talk about things you're not doing with your kids. You could also talk about like a wish list for fall of like things you want to buy. Or of course, you could do like a fall reset. This week is a great time to do a fall reset. To do like, here's how I'm resetting my content strategy for fall. Here's how I'm resetting my Notion and my apartment, my skincare. Here's how I'm going to treat fall as a plan to do this 2026 goal. Like I would do something this week about fall, whether it's trend predictions, what's in and out, or a reset. Like that's the task this week, okay? Thanks for listening. This was such a fun episode. I hope you're doing well. We're so back. We're so back. Anyways, I'll see you over on Instagram throughout the week, and I hope you're doing well. Happy fun day, and thanks for clocking in with me.